I had always considered myself in a solid, trusting relationship with Adam. We had been together for over 2 years, and from the outside, it seemed like we had everything: laughter, stability, and that kind of easy comfort that comes with knowing someone inside and out. I felt like I knew him better than anyone else did. But, as cliché as it sounds, it all came crashing down on a quiet Friday night that IT started like any other. I'd been working late at my job as a marketing assistant, finishing up a last-minute project. I had texted Adam at around 10 p.m., telling him I'd be home a little later than usual. His reply was short and sweet. "Okay, babe, I'll be up." I smiled at the text, but nothing about it seemed out of the ordinary. Adam was always a night owl, and I didn't think twice about it. Midnight. I finally finished my work and headed home. The drive felt long that night, like I was waiting for something to break the routine. I didn't know yet what it was, but I should have sensed it. When I walked in through the front door, I noticed the living room lights were on. Strange, because Adam was usually asleep by now. The air felt heavy, but I brushed it off, thinking I was just overthinking things after a long day. But as I walked deeper into the apartment, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Adam's phone was sitting face up on the coffee table. The screen was unlocked, showing a recent text thread. I froze in my tracks, my hand still on the door handle. It wasn't the fact that the phone was out in the open that made me stop, but rather the names on the screen. The texts were between Adam and my best friend, Claire. At first, I thought maybe it was a harmless conversation. Maybe they were making plans or talking about something I had missed. But then I looked closer. The timestamps on the messages were recent, just minutes before I walked in. And there was something about the tone of their conversation that made my heart skip. It was too intimate, too flirtatious that I didn't even need to read the messages in full to get the gist of what was happening. But I did anyway. "Can't stop thinking about you tonight," one message read. Another, "I wish you were here with me. We'd have so much fun." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. This was my boyfriend and my best friend. How was this happening? Why was this happening? I stood there for a moment, not sure whether to scream or break down in tears. There were no signs, none. Adam had never once shown any inkling of being interested in Claire like this. And Claire? She was practically family to me. We'd been best friends since college. This was beyond a betrayal. This felt like a sick joke that I felt dizzy, my hands shaking as I reached for Adam's phone. My mind was racing as I read through more of the conversation. It wasn't just friendly banter, it was flirting. Claire had texted him first, initiating it, and then Adam had played along. It wasn't even just a one-time mistake type of situation. They had been talking like this for days. I could hear the distant hum of the refrigerator in the background, but the rest of the apartment was unnervingly silent. It felt like the walls were closing in, like everything around me was disintegrating. I had been in this relationship for 2 years, and now here it was, crumbling in front of my eyes that I didn't know what to do next. The anger in me surged, but I was also confused. What was going on? Was this something that had been brewing for a while? I needed answers, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe this was just a bad decision, a mistake on their part. I thought about calling Claire, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Instead, I texted her, "Where are you?" Then I turned to Adam. I had to face him. I had to know if this was real. I walked to our bedroom, phone still in hand. Adam was lying in bed, his eyes half closed as he scrolled through his own phone. He didn't notice me at first, but when I stood in front of him, holding up his phone, his face went ashen. "Adam, what the hell is going on?" I demanded, my voice barely above a whisper. The calmness was a disguise for the storm inside me. He sat up slowly, his eyes locking on the phone in my hand. There was no avoiding it. He knew what was coming. "It's not what you think," he said, his voice sounding tired and guilty all at once. "I swear, just hear me out." I didn't want to hear excuses. "How long has this been going on? Were you and Claire always texting like this?" He took a deep breath, looking like he was struggling to find the right words. I made a mistake. It was a few days ago. We were both drinking, and things just spiraled out of control. "I'm so sorry," I shouldn't have let it go that far. It didn't make sense. A mistake? Maybe I could buy that if the texts were a one-time thing, but this felt like a pattern. Pattern I hadn't noticed. How long had he been hiding this from me? How much of our relationship had been built on lies? I didn't say anything. Couldn't. My head was spinning, trying to process what he had just said. Was this really a drunken mistake? Or was there something more to it? The trust one had in him was slipping away, and with it, the foundation of everything I thought we had built. I needed more answers. So I texted Claire again. "Where are you? We need to talk." A few minutes later, my phone buzzed with a message from Claire. "I'm sorry. I really am. Can we meet up? I need to explain." I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to hear her apologies. But I knew I had to. So I told her to come over. The doorbell rang about 20 minutes later. I opened the door, and there she was, my best friend. The woman I had shared everything with. She didn't look like herself. Her face was pale, and she was avoiding my gaze. The weight of the situation hung in the air. "Claire, what's going on?" I asked, my voice shaking despite my best effort to sound calm. "Why would you do this to me? To us?" She looked like she was about to cry. "I didn't mean for it to happen this way. It wasn't supposed to get this far. It's just, Adam and I were talking one night, and it felt like we were connecting in a way that I didn't expect. I never wanted to hurt you, I swear." I could feel my anger rising. Connect? That's what they called it? How long had this been going on? How long had they been lying to me, sneaking around behind my back? "I trusted you," I whispered, my voice breaking. "You were supposed to be my best friend. You were supposed to have my back. How could you do this?" She looked crushed, but I couldn't find it in me to feel sorry for her. She had crossed a line, one I couldn't ignore. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to say. I never wanted to hurt you. I got confused." I turned away from her, looking at Adam, who was still sitting silently on the bed. He hadn't said anything since the first apology. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to do anything that would make the hurt go away. But it didn't. The more I looked at them, the more I realized this wasn't just a simple mistake. This was something much bigger, something I couldn't fix.in the days that followed. I did what I thought was best for me. I took space. I didn't speak to Adam or Claire for a week. I needed time to process everything, to figure out if I could ever trust either of them again. But deep down, I knew things had changed. I didn't know what the future would hold, but I was sure about one thing. I couldn't go back to the way things were. I ended things with Adam soon after. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. As for Claire, we haven't spoken since. Some wounds are too deep to heal, and the trust between us was broken beyond repair. It hurt a lot. Losing someone you love and someone you trust feels like losing part of yourself. But I'm learning that sometimes letting go is the only way to move forward. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm focusing on me now, learning to rebuild my life without the weight of betrayal hanging over me.